Welcome back to the channel. Today we're discussing an article from comicbook.com talking about Sue Storm's casting for the Fantastic Four movie slated for 2025. There has been a bunch of delays announced. This has not been one of them, and they want to apparently, as I stated, start with casting the character of Sue Storm first. Casting Sue Storm first for me raises a lot of questions, but we know the past casting hasn't been the strongest for this character in on-screen representation in the form of the movies that she's been seen in thus far through the years, which we'll talk about as we go along. Let's get into the video, shall we? Fantastic Four. Why starting casting with Sue Storm is the right call. This came out on the 17th from Jenna Anderson over on comicbook.com. Hollywood needs to cast a new Fantastic Four. If you've been on certain corners of the internet since Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot was announced in late 2020, the fact has become overwhelmingly apparent. In years since, the new film has been at the center of tons of speculation, both because of the larger narrative significance it could have on projects like Avengers Secret Wars, and because it will be the first foray of the team within the Marvel Cinematic Universe after several decades of middling or ill-fated movie reboots. The past few years have been chock full of theories and rumors about who could play the Fantastic Four's main four roles. And with the film reportedly on track to begin filming next year for an early 2025 release date, we might soon know that answer. Deadline's Justin Kroll recently reported that casting Fantastic Four will be gearing up soon and that Marvel Studios' focus will be on filling the role of Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, first.
Why?
And then finding the subsequent members of the team and the supporting cast. While that detail might be surprising to some, it could very well be the perfect way to establish a foundation for Marvel's first family.
It's not a lie, if you believe it.
And as we said, we've seen Kate Mara in Fantastic, and we've seen Jessica Alba in the two Fantastic Four movies, Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, with both Alba and Mara's casting being considered obviously very weak, and the reception of those films is middling at best, as they stated. But I mean, in all honesty, the 05 and 07 Fantastic Four movies were really fun. They were fun movies. They weren't the best. The casting was decent in those, in all honesty, compared to Fantastic. Just the casting overall, I never bought or liked Miles Teller as Reed Richards. I'm not a Miles Teller fan, and I fell victim to the fan casting of, John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, and then seeing the scene in Doctor Strange with Krasinski and the way that they dispatched him was ultimately ridiculous and really belittled the character.
No.
Now, what do I think of this casting of Sue first? Well, at first, I thought it sounded a bit ridiculous in just lockstep with what the MCU or MCU is doing now, is putting all the females front and center, which I'm all for female superheroes. I have no issue with that, but it's just the way they're written. That's what people don't understand, is when we criticize, at least when I criticize this, it's from a place of these characters are just poorly written and poorly represented on screen. Sometimes it might be the casting, and but the majority of the overwhelming theme is the writing, and that is because of the quality of writers that you're not employing. You don't have writers. You have activists pretending to be writers that are openly antagonistic to the fans for no reason, when if they simply stuck the landing as far as the characters being portrayed through the writers, a fair translation of the source material, with She-Hulk in particular, would have been great. You wouldn't have had people bashing the show and then had to blame everything on toxic masculinity and incels and trying to blame some doofus with a helmet on YouTube, just talks about Kathleen Kennedy. It's laughable to blame your own audience and wonder why your film or your show gets poorly reviewed.
How dare you?
For starters, building the Fantastic Four casting process around Sue could guarantee only one key element of the team, the chemistry that they have with each other. While the Fantastic Four have undeniably become a found family, it can be argued that their strongest relationships all tie back to Sue. She's married to Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, the older sister of Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, and a close friend, and in another universe, a love interest of Ben Grimm, the Thing. Rumors are also swirling that Reed and Sue might be parents in the film, so you could throw her mother-child relationship with Franklin and or Valeria Richards into that mix as well. Now, see, let me stop there for a moment. I don't think that's a good idea just to start out with them being parents, because in all honesty, I want to get to know the characters before you introduce the excess baggage of them having children into the mix. Reed might often be the group's leader on paper, the first character you might cast when assembling the team, but Marvel Studios finding their Sue first and foremost ensures that it can be the best possible actors to play off her in those various roles. Now, that being said, we know that Marvel puts females to the forefront on purpose. And that's not to say that these female characters warrant it because of quality. It's because of the narrative and the agenda that Marvel is pushing now.
It will be, when it fits a woman.
And you can call me names and insult me all you want for saying it, but it's true. All these male characters, I mean, from every review I've listened to of Ant-Man, which again, I'm not going to watch, he's belittled and made to look like a fool through his own movie at the behest of every female character. His daughter is a peaceful protester. I mean, you have socialism prevalent, but I mean, what can you expect when the Pims are from San Francisco? Beyond that, although Marvel Studios might not be thinking about this out of the gate, Sue also has some strong bonds with other characters that already exist in the MCU. In the comics, beyond that, although Marvel Studios might not be thinking about this out of the gate, Sue also has some strong bonds with other characters that already exist in the MCU. In the comics, she's a close friend of Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, and has a romantic relationship with Namor. Both of which are dynamics that fans would love to see happen, even for fleeting moments in live action. Why must, and I can guarantee you at some point they'll do a thing with her and Namor, just to cuck out Reed Richards and make him look like a weak, ineffectual male. I guarantee you. Because Reed Richards is white. They'll probably, I don't know if they'll cast him as white. They won't do that Namor angle if they cast Reed Richards and race swap him. But if Reed Richards is a white guy, guaranteed they'll find a way to make him look weak, and that might just be their baked-in reason right there, because it happened in the comics. So if you complain about it, you're a bigot. Watch. Guaranteed it happened. Narrative. And on a larger level, casting Sue Storm as the first piece of the Fantastic Four ensemble ensures that her character will definitely matter in the story Marvel Studios is telling. Previous film incarnations of Sue, particularly those played by Jessica Alba and Kate Mara, which I mentioned in the video's opener, only began to scratch the surface of her narrative potential, or just treated her as something of an afterthought. Granted, that can be seen as a reflection of how female superheroes had been treated written large, superhero adaptations in the 2000s and early 2010s, with many projects either ignoring their potential heroines or casting them into the obvious Smurfette roles. But thankfully, the tide has started to change in that regard, and especially at Marvel Studios. In Phase 4, we've gotten a wide range of female-fronted, or should we say forced female stories in WandaVision, which I liked, but it shit the bed. Black Widow. Eternals was a complete and utter failure. Miss Marvel was received well, but like I said, not going to watch it. Wasn't made for me. She-Hulk Attorney at Law, I could only suffer through a couple episodes. It was miserable, and judging by everybody's reaction by the way the last 3 or 4 episodes went, I'm glad I quit. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, that movie was miserable, slow-paced, had no lead, no Black Panther. It was trash. And there are even more on the horizon with the Marvels, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Ironheart, nobody asked for, nobody wanted, nobody likes that character, nobody buys the books. Echo, who the hell asked for an Echo series? Agatha, Coven of Chaos.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
While Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot will obviously be an ensemble piece, there's a chance it could still strongly center Sue within its story. Here's hoping. And what I can't understand is why they have to hope for another female-fronted story that will ultimately divide the fans, probably lose them some money or leave money on the table, because I'm sorry folks, the law of diminishing returns is taken off and the superhero fatigue is already setting in. The critics are dumping on Ant-Man, but who knows, if it was a female-fronted story played by a woman of color, they might receive it a little bit better, and then the audience scores would be more I don't know. Marvel's Echo and Ironheart series might be delayed until 2024. Yes, Echo, the character from Hawkeye, or should I say Kate Bishop, the series that nobody cared about, was barely registering with anybody who read the comics. Ironheart, again, a series with Riri Williams, who was miserable and insufferable in Wakanda Forever, and nobody wanted to see her in her own series, but hey.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Marvel's Nova Disney project gets delayed. Yes, another one, Nova, which we should have had a long time ago. What the Marvel's release date means for the MCU slate. Yeah, Bob Iger said we're not going to release 80 projects a year. I'm not championing Bob Iger's cause, but I mean, for actual people who are still enjoying the MCU, less might be more moving forward for them. And even the normies and casuals too, who are probably just watching out of sheer obligation at this point, given the quality of the last few projects and the entire last phase, let's be honest.
Is that like a personal attack or something? Or...
I don't want to go on any longer, but let me know what you think about this casting decision to make Sue Storm the centerpiece of the forthcoming Fantastic Four. Is this idea ideologically based by Disney, or is this out of some sort of want to make her character coherent in her relationships with the surrounding cast, the other members of the Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family? Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. If you've enjoyed the video, please, this is the point where I ask you to hit that like button and share it. I know it's a lot of work, but if you could spare me the 10 to 15 seconds it takes to do that, I would truly appreciate it. And maybe if you're so inclined to spend the extra time, leave a comment, just say, hey, subscribe. It's free. It always will be. Ding the red button. Takes no time, and it does me a big favor. I'd appreciate that. If you've hung out this long, thank you so much for supporting the channel. There's channel memberships available. You can join there if you so desire. If not, cool, just watch the videos. You see the info right there. You can catch us live 5 times a week. That's right. 3 if you're a non-channel member, 5 if you're a channel member. We have members only after shows on Monday and Wednesday after our main shows. Saturday, of course, is our big show we have to cap off the week. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for supporting us.